I'm in Shenandoah National Park at the bottom of the mountain on the east side. That's US Route 211, and this is the Buck Hollow trailhead. There's the trail over that way. That's where I'm going to be headed. Yep, got my car back, the Gray Ghost. It's back from the body shop. It had a little owie and had to get fixed. Anyway, I'm going to close that up and head over here to the Buck Hollow Trail and head up this way. We're going to cross over the headwaters of the Thornton River, and then we're going to turn left, and we're going to go down here about a half a mile through the wilderness and look for the remains of the Old Hazel Road. It's down here in an area called Beech Spring Hollow. The elevation here is 1080. Two-tenths of a mile into my hike. The elevation here is 1,070 feet, and that's where I came from. I just crossed over two branches of the Thornton River headwaters. I almost fell in one of them. The rocks are wet and slippery, so those crossings they look pretty easy, but you'd be surprised how slippery the rocks are. Anyway, here's another little feeder. I gotta cross over here, and we're going to head off in this direction, and going to be heading towards the ruins of an old mill down here. Once we get there, then we'll be pretty close to where the Beech Spring, where that road used to be. It was called Old Hazel Road. I'm hiking alongside the Thornton River now. Still heading towards my next waypoint, which is supposed to be the fence, a stone wall. And once I get there, then I'll know where I'm at, and I can start looking for the old road. That's looking downstream towards where the old mill used to be. Half a mile into my hike. The elevation here is 1,030 feet, and that's where I came from. Here's the Thornton River. I'm following it downstream now, and this is the low side of a road. From there over to there is a road that runs parallel to the Thornton River. So I'll mark that location and check the old maps when I get home. Here's the river, and we're going to continue on downstream. Seven-tenths of a mile into my hike. I'm down to 1,000 feet elevation. There's the Thornton River. US 211's over there. Every once in a while I can see cars going by. And here's the corner of the rock wall. So somebody obviously was living here, or maybe this was part of the mill heading off this way. So we're gonna continue on downstream. I haven't dialed up my next waypoint yet, but it's probably 3/10 of a mile or so until we get to where the park boundary is and where the old road, the Old Hazel Road, should be. So let's head on down this way. Nine-tenths of a mile into my hike. The elevation here is 980. Still dropping down, following this Thornton River downstream. And it's been really rough going. I climbed over that wall only to find out after that there's a hole right here. See this? That goes right in there. Now, it looks like, the way it's worn, it looks like this used to be a road across over to the mill. The mill was over here somewhere, and I don't think I have those waypoints, but it would be downstream here a little ways. And this looks like maybe it was a road that crossed over, so I don't know. I'm gonna push in here a little bit further. Let's see, I've got another almost 3/10 of a mile to the beginning of the road I was going to hike, and I'm beat now. It's been let's see what time it is, but I've been hiking for an hour and I haven't even gone 1 mile yet. So it's really overgrown, really rough going. I may push in here a little ways. I don't see myself going all the way up to the top, up to where the Hazel River is, but I'd like to at least satisfy my curiosity that the old road's still there. One 1.3 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 1,020 feet, and that's looking towards US 211. It's down there, I don't know, half a mile or so, but this is the old road. This is on the maps, it's the Old Hazel Road. That's heading downhill towards US 211. It comes out right next to the old Beech Spring Church. This is called Beech Spring Hollow. You can see the roads all armored up here, and then that's heading up the mountain. I'm going to mark a few waypoints and take a few pictures, but honestly, it's been such a battle getting here, you know, by myself, that I think I might just save the the climb, because it's like a 1,200 foot climb up to the headwaters of the Hazel River. So, and I've been hiking for at least an hour and a half now, I'd say. So I'm going to get a few pictures, and then I am going to look for an easy way back to my car. I think if anybody wants to try this, I'll mark this spot on my GPS track, but it is it's tough getting here from the Buck Hollow trailhead. The best thing to do would be have somebody drop you off a little bit closer, and then that way you don't have to worry about parking, because there really isn't any. So get a few pictures, and then I'm going to start trying to find a way back. Okay, just to get a little bit of a GPS track, I hiked up to my waypoint, Hazel River 15. I repositioned it just slightly. That's a note to myself. That's the way I'm headed back. And it looks like from Hazel River waypoint 15, it looks like the road takes a slight bend to the left when you're heading uphill. Here's a correction to my last video clip. I was down that way just a little ways when I made it, and it looked like the road coming up this way, it looked like it went to the left, and it does just for a short distance, but then it turns to the right. There it is right there. So it takes off to the right, heading up towards my waypoint 14. .4 miles into my hike, I'm down to 1,020 feet. I'm almost at the park boundary. I'm standing in the middle of the Old Hazel Road here, and I know, and there's a sign here. I'll get a still picture of it, but it says this is a fire foot trail used by rangers to reach forest fires. It is not recommended for public use. Camping permits required, campfires prohibited, glass bottles and jars prohibited, cans and trash must be packed out, dogs must be on a leash, vehicles prohibited, hunting or carrying firearms prohibited. That last one might be different now. You might be able to carry in a national park these days, I'm not sure. Anyway, good luck getting a vehicle up this road. Note to myself, I repositioned my Hazel River 16 point by like 50 feet. There's the park boundary looking that way. Here's the old road, and that big tree standing on the other side of the blown down one's got a red blaze on it, and that's looking towards US 211. Man, I'd love to go back that way. That's a lot easier than the way I came, I can tell you that. The only problem is it's on private property, so. .6 miles into my hike, the elevation here is 1,070. That's the way I'm headed. I decided to go back a little higher up on the mountain. Down there is the Thornton River. That zone down there is flat, and the problem is it's super overgrown and gnarly. That's the way I came from the Old Hazel Roads back that way. And looking at my GPS, I got about another half a mile. The mountain's kind of steep here. It's not the easiest hiking, but it's better than down there where all the gnarly thorns and stuff are. So very little of that up this way higher. So I'm just going to keep going this way. My plan is I'm going to eventually run into the Buck Hollow Trail, which will take me down to the trailhead where my car's parked. .8 miles into my hike, the elevation here is 1,060. That's the way I came from. I think I'm following bits and pieces of an old road, Here's a giant rock pile right here. I'm calling this one rock pile number 2. And there's a little baby rock pile right over there. And there's some right there. But here's the big daddy rock pile. And right there is part of an old shovel, the head of a shovel. This is a map of today's hike. The quadrangle name is Thornton Gap, 1994. And this was a bushwhack hike looking for the remains of the Old Hazel Road, which is in Beech Spring Hollow. This is US Route 211 at the bottom of the mountains. Sperryville is over here. Up this way is the top of the mountain at Thornton Gap. Right here is the park boundary. When you first come into the park on 211, about, well, less than a mile in, right here on the left, is the first trailhead that you'll come across. This is the Buck Hollow trailhead. So you can pull off here. If you're coming up, you can pull off on the left side of the road here. There's a gravel pull-off for the trailhead. I parked there, got on Buck Hollow Trail, and it crosses the headwaters of Thornton, the Thornton River, twice. Once here and once here. As soon as I got across the second crossing, I turned left and bushwhacked over to right there where it says HR 16, Hazel River 16. This is the park boundary, and I did find the Old Hazel Road right here. It's a pretty big ditch, so it's easy to find. Now, the only problem with this hike, I didn't complete it because from here to here probably took me an hour to hike. It's extremely overgrown and thorny, and in some places it's really impenetrable. So you have to hike around a lot of stuff. But anyway, I got over to here. By the time I got over to here, I was beat. But I got this waypoint 16 and also 15. And then turned around. Now, here's the route that the road takes up here like this. And on this map it says Old Hazel Road. And it came out right down here, which is the Beech Spring Church, the old historical Beech Spring Church. You can see that as you drive in this area. I was going to hike it all the way up here to the top, and then right here is the headwaters of the Hazel River, way up here high on the mountain. I was going to hike up to here and then turn around and hike back, but I'll have to save that for another day. But anyway, I can say for sure that there is definitely a road here, and down here near the bottom it's easy to find. And this map here from 1994 is pretty accurate. And then I just hiked back to my car. Now on the way back, I hiked back a little higher on the mountain to try and get away from all the underbrush and stuff. And it was a little easier to hike higher up on the mountain. Just as an FYI, right there is the ruins of the old water-powered mill. So that's worth checking out also. I have a separate video on that. Well, let me show you one more map before I wrap it up. This is Luray, 1893. And the Old Hazel Road is right here in green on this map. Over here is Sperryville. Right here's the top of the mountain at Thornton Gap. This is the road that became US Route 211. And right there is, this is the Beech Spring Hollow, and that's the same road right there. Ended up, well, it was going to be closer to 5 miles if I went all the way to the top, but since I didn't, 2.5 miles. And look how long it took me to hike 2.5 miles, the 3 hours, which is really slow. Total ascent, 292 feet. And that was the hike for today.